Welcome to the Japan Reach podcast, the podcast where we explore the world of Japan and what makes it such an amazing place. Konnichiwa everyone, and welcome to the first ever broadcast of the Japan Reach podcast, brought to you by Japan Reach, reaching the Japanese people one relationship at a time. The team here at Japan Reach has traveled extensively in Japan and have a lot of experience with Japanese people and Japanese culture. This podcast will explore some of the fun things that we've uncovered during our journeys, and we will bring in guests to talk about their experiences and how they got interested in Japan. I hope you will enjoy. My name is John, and I'm a huge fan of Japanese arts, language, and culture. I go to Japan regularly and plan to return this coming summer and the next summer and the summer after that. I went primarily to meet up with friends in Japan and to help churches in Japan with their English language study program as part of Japan Reach. So let's get going. Today we're going to dig into the fun fact about Japan, in particular, how Japan got its name. A lot of people know that Japan is sometimes called the land of the rising sun. Let's talk about why that is. It was once believed that Japan was the first country to see the sunrise because it was the most easterly country on the map. Well, the Asian map. Before we go much further than that, Japan is a Western pronunciation that was created through what I would call an international telephone game. Long before there were telephones, of course. How did that work? Well, when Marco Polo was making his way to that part of the world, he never actually made it to Japan. He first encountered other countries that themselves had interesting pronunciations. For instance, the Chinese referred to it as Sipangu, the Shanghainese Zipen, and Malay referred to it as Japang. The English pronunciation is likely a strange mix of all of these, and that's where we get the modern pronunciation of Japan. Interestingly, the Japanese don't use the word Japan unless they're talking to foreigners, because it is a foreign word. In Japanese, they pronounce their country name as Nihon, which means the sun's origin, or more poetically, the land of the rising sun. But how did it get this name? Well, let's just say that Japan has a history of being named by other people, so we can thank China. In particular, the name comes from Japan's eastern position relative to China. So China sends over the new name to Japan on a piece of scroll or whatever, and it has two Chinese characters. Here is your name, they pronounce, Riben, which means sunrise land. Of course, in Japan, they have their own language, and in Japanese it's pronounced Nihon, and that is what they call themselves today. If we could hop in a time machine and take a step back into the past, about 500 AD, before the modern pronunciation Nihon, Japan was called Wa. Of course, it was once again China that gave Japan that name, and the Japanese didn't really like it because it was offensive. In particular, Wa, as it was used in China, referred to the people of Japan as submissive people and the country of dwarves. Japanese people didn't like that, so they decided to name themselves, and the word they used was Yamato, which means harmony or peace. And it was also the name of one of the largest, most famous, and I would add non-peaceful battleships in world history. Ironic, huh? The name Yamato lasted for a while, but the Chinese influence resulted in a slow change that would cement the name Nihon, the origin of the sun, into the Japanese language for good. So there you have it. Now you know how Japan, Nihon, got its name. I hope you found this podcast interesting. I know I enjoyed telling the story. God bless, and Yamato.